Hey everybody, it's Steph Mischuk, killersites.com. In this video blog, I'm going to get straight to the point. Louis C.K. got ripped off. So let me give you the backstory. A friend of mine who's a fan of Louis C.K. Contacted me. He's also an assistant of mine, web designer, budding web programmer that he is, and he mentioned this whole Louis C.K. Experiment where he basically created his own show and took care of all the production and then hired a web design firm to build the site. And he details his cost for everything in the statement here. I just want to read this one thing. The development of the website, which needed a very robust, reliable, and carefully constructed website, was around $32,000. Now, when my buddy told me, yeah, he built this site, it was 32 grand. I said, whoa, what's he doing on the site? And he said, wow, he's just selling one video. I go, really? Just one video? At 32,000? I said, how's the design? He goes, it's pretty good. It's, Anyway, so I had to check it out. So I went and I checked it out. And, it's a clean, simple site. I thought when I heard 32,000, he probably invested a lot of time and effort into the design. Design can be expensive, but seeing this, though it's professional and so on, there's no way that this design took, it's very, very, very simple. To be fair to the designers, it's easy to copy a design once you see it. And this, in terms of the structure of the site, this is as simple as it gets. This is something, we teach this kind of layout, this, in minutes in the first course, the beginner's course that we teach. You learn this in the first 20 minutes, how to do something as simple as this, in terms of the structure. Now, in terms of the aesthetics, the actual design, again, it's really, really simple. So maybe with the back and forth, between between the comedian Louis C.K. and the web designers, maybe, I'm being generous here, maybe $2,500 in cost, and that's really pushing it. I can see, I don't know this guy, maybe he's real picky and he made him go back and forth 100 times, so that's why the cost ballooned up. But this cost would balloon up to maybe a few thousand in design, and that's being really generous. To do this from scratch would be like, it's a day's work, 2 days work, maybe, in real time. So we're looking at now for the main cost is definitely not in the design of this project. The main cost is, I would guess, would be in the e-commerce component and the, in the login component and so forth. But, in looking at this, I said, 32 grand, So he has this buy this thing button. You click through and you put your email address, you confirm it. And I assumed that maybe part of the cost was because the web development company that Louis C.K. hired, and they set up merchant accounts for him so he could process credit cards through his own bank accounts and so on. But no, not even that. All he's doing is going to PayPal. So if you put in an email address, I'm going to put in my email address, and we click here, and I gotta confirm. So you have a little agree with the terms and conditions, so add extra 5 minutes there, and then we go PayPal, and that's it. It goes to PayPal. This is really simple. You could set up a PayPal payment like this if you know PayPal. It's not complex to know PayPal. You don't even need to know how to program. That being said, this is really, really simple stuff. So the other thing that they would have to do is create the login system where once you've paid for the video, you log in, you're able to download the video content. This is not difficult at all. We do it quite a bit on our video tutorial store. Of course, we do it for dozens and dozens of courses. Then you go to video downloads and you log in. We track download counts and all kinds of stuff. It's not difficult. The only thing that they have to do is they have to set up PayPal. So when PayPal sends a message back to the site saying, okay, Steph bought the Louis C.K. Video, allow him to download the video. It's not that difficult. So anyway, the reason I'm producing this video is because I often get the question from budding web developers and programmers. They're asking about how to judge the cost of a site. And it really depends on a lot of factors. It depends on, how many pages. This is only like a 5-page site. Although the page count is not huge because it's more about the design and setting up the basic structure. And, and it depends on how much the client, how many revisions they want and how much back and forth you're gonna have to deal with. And I teach about that in terms of how to handle that to minimize it, so you save money for the client and save headaches and time for you, the web designer or web programmer. And then we look at this basic e-commerce system here. Like, this is as basic as it gets using PayPal. In the end, I would say that this site, I would have quoted no more than $3,000, maybe $4,000, maybe $5,000 if I thought this guy might be a pain in the butt in terms of managing him. I don't know. But this is like, unless they're doing something special, I don't know, they're writing the code with gold letters or something. This is just $32,000. That's way beyond the pale, crazy pricing for this video, for this website. So yeah, but for the price for the video from Louis C.K. is actually a good price, $5. I think that's worth it. Anyway, I hope you learned something from this in terms of being able to judge the cost of websites. And again, this is also something for small business owners to sort of, recognize in terms, you don't want to get hosed like I think Louis C.K. did by their web design firm, unless I'm missing something. But I've been doing this kind of stuff since 1994, and I don't think I'm missing anything.